So, welcome everybody. I think all of you know me, but my name is Casey, and welcome. This is an informative call about why you should register for NOAHCon 2024. So, if anyone is watching who is maybe on the fence about registering, we have here a NOAH parent, a NOAH teen, and a NOAH adult on our little panel tonight to kind of help you maybe decide if NOAHCon is right for you. So I'm just going to go through these questions I have, and then, we can take some questions at the end. I know this is a smaller group, so we can kind of keep it casual, but so I'm going to go around, and just when I call on you for our panelists, you can introduce yourself, your name and where you're from, and then also I would like you to answer what year was your first NOAHCon. So we'll start it off here with Rosalind. Yeah, just your name, little intro, and when was your first NOAHCon?
All right. My name is Rosalind Isom, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I am an attorney, and my first NOAHCon was in 2018, and it was in Kansas City, Missouri.
Great. Thanks for being here, Rosalind. And Sarah.
My name is Sarah Fenn. I live in South Carolina, and I'm a parent of a teenager with albinism. She's almost 15, and our first conference was in 2010 in Washington, D.C., and Caroline was just barely a year old.
Oh, wow. That's great. And Nuala.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Nuala. I live in New York. I want to be a math and computer science teacher, and my first conference was 2016. I believe that was somewhere in Pennsylvania. Was that Pittsburgh?
I think so. Yep, that's right. Karen's shaking her head. Yep, I was not at that one, but I believe it was Pittsburgh. So that's great. So thank you all for being here. My next question, we can start with you this time, Nuala. What is your favorite part about the conference, about going?
You have to make me pick, Casey. Come on.
I know. It doesn't have to be a specific moment. It could even be an overall feeling or just one of your favorite things.
Honestly, so one of my favorite things was the camaraderie you feel, whatever session you're attending, even before the conference. You see all of these people coming in who have albinism. You all know what you're there for, and you're just getting ready, and you're so excited to be with people who understand your albinism journey. Then you get to the conference, and it's just completely in your element with people who just kind of get it, and it's just one of the greatest things about the conference.
Absolutely. And Sarah, what do you have to say about your favorite moment?
It's kind of almost the same thing. I remember the first conference when Caroline was a baby. The conference was in a big conference center, and there was like a mall underneath the hotel. And I walked in, and there was a bunch of people there with albinism, and they immediately saw Caroline because she was a baby, and they started talking to her. And I think it was the first time that a stranger had come up to her and talked to her, and it wasn't because she had white hair in the same way it was for the strangers. They were coming up and talking to her because she had albinism, and she was just another baby. So I love that camaraderie. And since that time, I've met so many parents that I have relationships with, that if I have questions or we need to talk or something, I reach out to them. And Caroline she keeps in touch with some of the people that she met as a baby that she obviously doesn't remember meeting as a baby, but she still keeps up with them now. So it's that camaraderie that you get at the conference.
For sure. And Rosalind, what about you?
So for me, I guess in addition to the feeling of just like being a part of a community that's similar to me, I really just felt very relaxed. I felt like I was able to kind of let my hair down in a way of speaking because everyone was similarly situated and didn't have to try to navigate. Things were all set out just like everyone needed them to be, but how they might not normally be in our everyday life. And then, like they were saying earlier, people understood why you were doing different things, understood the challenges you had. And so you really could just relax and just completely be yourself.
I love that's a perfect way to describe it, to let your hair down, because you really do feel like you can just be, without having to put on any kind of show, or you can just be who you are. I love that, all of your answers. I remember my first NOAA conference, I saw people in the airport with albinism, and it was so cool because you all knew what they were there for, you know.
That's my favorite moment for the conference. Calling and you're like, hey, hi.
Yes, absolutely. So Sarah, we'll start this time with you. Tell us something you've learned at the conference. It doesn't have to be super specific, but for instance, maybe a certain session, a certain educational type of session you enjoyed, or something maybe you even, it doesn't even have to be from a session. Maybe you met another adult with albinism and you thought, oh, I never knew that was a thing. I'm just curious to know if you actually can think of anything you actually learned.
Yeah, I think my favorite session is the How We See one with Matt Bailey. It's one that I always recommend to newcomers and people going to the conference the first time, especially for parents. Obviously, I'm a parent, but I always love that session because he gives so many examples that kind of explains how a person with albinism sees. I know everybody with albinism sees a little bit different, but he kind of makes some concrete examples, especially as a parent. I always love that session. And the genetics session is always really good to understand how the genetics of albinism works and how it's, the genetics are passed down from each individual person. And also positive exposure with Rick Godotti. He's amazing, and that's always an amazingly fun session to go to.
Yes, absolutely. So anyone watching, be sure to remember to go to these sessions when you can. And Rosalind, what about you?
So I enjoyed all the sessions that I went to, but one thing that I definitely picked up that I didn't get in a session just from like conversations, and maybe we might have talked about it in a session, but just like it's kind of like everyday anecdotes. Like for instance, we had talked about in a group, we talked about how maybe like in the past, every time I maybe like went to McDonald's, I would always order the exact same thing just because I knew what it was and didn't have to, kind of figure anything out. And when I got there, I'd been doing things like that for years, just kind of memorizing menus. And someone just said something as simple as like, take a picture with your phone of the menu and then, use your phone to enlarge it so you can look at it and, choose and specialize your order just like everybody else does. And just like little anecdotes like that just were kind of lifesavers and just kind of life changing, even though it seems like a simple thing.
Absolutely. Nuala, what about you?
Ooh, something I learned at the conference. Yes. Sorry,
Yes.
I'm just in super.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
I think I learned at the conference that even when you aren't with the people in person who understand kind of the albinism journey, they're still there. And so I kind of learned to, when I go back to my daily life and I feel like I'm the only person, because I'm the only person in my school district with albinism. So when I am the only person doing things the way that I do, I just remember it's not just me. We're just rare, and we're all across the country and all across the world, and there's lots of other people kind of doing what I need to do in their own little ways. So it was kind of a nice fact that I learned. You hear it, but then you're really not alone, even when you feel like you are in your district. You're really not, and you can keep in touch with people. It's one of the coolest things.
That's a really good one. Those were also good. I love how across the map they were with like not only sessions, but just the other things you just learned from being around each other and the confidence you take with you when you leave NULA. I agree that is something I didn't expect from the NOAA conference. But when you leave, you kind of feel like you're on this high where you're like, I can conquer the world because I've seen other people doing it and I'm encouraged and inspired by other people. And you feel less alone, definitely. All right, and we'll start with Nuala this time. Just go, even though I just talked to you, just going out of order here. This is a little on the spot maybe, but do you have a conference memory that just sticks out in your, just a funny story or a memory that sticks out in your head?
Oh, I have so many funny memories, but one that seems like not, the memory itself seems inconsequential, but it's really amusing when I actually kind of think about it. I was trying to remember what it was. Was it 2016 or 2018? It must have been 2018 because I actually went out into the city. I and a group of my teen friends were, I don't know where we were, but we were doing some interactive thing in the city we were in, and it must have been Kansas. and we were sitting down kind of as this like news booth simulator thing, and they, you know how we sit there and there's the camera and then you read off the teleprompt. We
Mm.
were sitting there and we were pretending to be news anchors, and then we all realized at the same moment, or really close to each other, oh crud, we cannot read this teleprompt. And we were all just kind of sitting there being goofy and just bluffing our way through our little fake recorded moment. And we were like, breaking news, this thing happened. And it was, it seems like a small inconsequential memory, but I think it just kind of represents, I just remember being with my people and goofing off and being able to conquer the world, as Casey said.
That's a good one. And before we move on, you're the only one on this call, I think, who's been to the teen conference, the kids and teen conference. Do you like it? Do you recommend? Did you have a good time?
100 out of 10. It was the best time. You're with kids your age, you're really getting out and about, and you're just hanging out together. It's a lot of fun. And it's just a really great community building experience. And also, we stay in touch afterward. We have a teen call, we have some group chats. It's really great.
Thank you for plugging the NOAA Teen Connections. You can find it on albinism.org under NOAA Connections. That's a fun time. It's a fun time. And I know Sarah's daughter loves it too. No, sometimes I'm jealous of the teen programming at the conference because it does look just so fun. And I never got to do it because I was too old when I came. Rosalind, do you have a good memory? Doesn't have to be a favorite memory, but just a good memory from the conference.
So I do. The thing that was like the thing that just always sticks out in my mind when I think about the first conference that I went to is that so I had got there early. I was in Kansas City, so I went to the barbecue tour, met some people on the bus, and as we went to different places, but then I knew that there was going to be like a sort of the opening ceremony that night, and so in my mind, just like based on my everyday regular life, I was like, all right, I'm going to get down there early so that I can get a seat really close. And I got down there early, and there was like a zillion people who were already, who probably do that very same thing. And I just was like, it was just like very overwhelming, but just like a happy feeling like, there are people like me and we all do the same thing to try to navigate situations. And so that was just really nice. And then the other thing is that even though I was a full grown adult, when I was there, I got the chance to meet my new best friend. So yeah, I got a new best friend later in life.
Aw, that's great. Yeah, you're never too old to make a NOAA bestie. So I talked to someone recently and they said, oh, I want my daughter to find a best friend. And I said, you can even, you're never too old. You can even find one in adulthood. That's great. And Sarah, what about you? Favorite memory?
I've been thinking about this and I cannot think of one particular memory because I have so many memories that over the years. And so I asked Caroline what her favorite memory was, and she said her favorite memory was from Orlando a couple of years ago, and they were out in the pool playing, and she was playing with two friends, one friend that she met at her very first conference, and they were both babies at the time, and they've kept up over the years, and another friend that she met in camp a few years later, and then another little girl who was 5 or 6 years younger than her, that they were all playing together in the pool, and that was her favorite memory. I think the three older kids were like 12 or 13, and the little girl was probably 5 or 6, and they were all playing together, and that was her favorite memory. So I think my favorite memory is just watching the relationships that Caroline has made over the years, that she's met friends that she only sees every 2 years, but she gets really excited to be able to see them again. And also for me, I remember, I think it was in Pittsburgh, Marlena did her cabaret show, and a bunch of moms that I had basically only met on the internet through Facebook groups and things like that. We all decided to go together, and we met beforehand, and we all went and saw Marlena's show together. So that's probably one of my favorite personal memories.
Oh, that's awesome. Those are both great. So that was my last actual question, but any final comments to push people who might be on the fence about coming to the conference? Of any final thoughts from any of you?
I do.
I would say,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that, even though it sounds kind of cliche, it literally it's life changing, and you really just don't know how it's going to affect you and impact you until you're there. Because honestly, the first day that I was there, I really just had to go to my room and just like kind of settle down, because I was just like so overwhelmed with joy and just a lot of emotions stirring up. It's like something was, placed in my life that was missing, and I didn't even know it.
Mm, mm. Yes, it is very high emotions for sure, in a good way. Yeah, that's great. I love that. Something was missing and you didn't even know. That's so true, especially for adults that come later. And Nuala, what were you gonna say?
Honestly, I would say as a teen now, oftentimes it's just I don't even have words for it. It's just so worth it. As someone who I'm in public school, I'm in doing a lot of different things outside of school. When you're a busy person and when you're just doing your best to just keep up with all of the sighted peers, the conference is such a much needed reminder that you don't have to do that, because there you as a person with albinism, you are awesome and super cool, and you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. And I think the conference is a really important reminder of that. Like I said, I'm a teen, I'm busy, I'm actually a senior, so I'm going to be going off to college, and I really need those reminders because I'm just trying to keep up with all my schoolwork. And sometimes it feels like a lot, but the conferences remind you that, you don't have to do it like everybody else. It feels like a lot, but people understand, and you'll be okay.
Absolutely. Definitely. And Sarah, not to put you on the spot, any final thoughts?
Not any final thoughts, but I think as the only parent here, I just want to let parents know that my kids, all my kids have gone to the conference. I only have one with albinism, but my other 3 kids that do not have albinism have all gone to the conference too, and they all love it just as much as my daughter with albinism. They've met friends there that they've kept up with over the years and that they remember when they go back. So I think it really is truly for the entire family. It isn't just for the person with albinism.
I'm glad you said that, because I get people asking a lot, can my kids without albinism come, or my niece, or whomever, and I tell them yes, they'll have a great time. Well, thank you so much to our panelists, Sarah, Rosalind, and Nuala. You all are awesome. Thanks for coming and answering all my questions. All right, thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. You too.
See you later. Bye.